In this episode, we're starting with Ozempic, that miracle drug that's making everyone thin. But what are the downsides? Then we're digging into toxic financial relationships, and I've got a lot to say on that one. So stay tuned, my friends. Party's over. Externally, I wanted to look a certain way, but internally, I wasn't happy. I've had so many procedures, so many treatments, more than I can count. I started to really focus on doing things for my body that made me feel good. I decided to write my book to share this knowledge, and people have really resonated with it. And that night at 5 in the morning, there's a girl at the front door. I was able to figure out what a narcissist was because I was married to a narcissist.
There's some stuff in there I'm very surprised that you're talking about.
I can spot the red flags now from a mile away. I want the viewers of my show to walk away feeling great about themselves and feeling empowered. I'm going to incorporate my story as well in the show, but I also am very interested in learning about other people's stories.
I love your honesty and your genuineness. That's what makes you so authentic and real and why people want to talk to you.
Watch Party's Over. It's going to be fun, informative. We're going to have a great time. Party's over. We've all heard about Ozempic and how it's helping people around the world lose weight. But is it a fix or just another trend with risks? Registered dietitian and nutritionist Jacqueline is here to separate fact from fiction. Thank you, Jacqueline, for coming on our show today. We're so excited. She was on a few weeks ago, and we were dying to talk to her about Ozempic. So we want to talk again today about how Ozempic and how it's become such a buzzword in the beauty industry and wellness and Hollywood and everywhere. And what are your thoughts about Ozempic?
Yeah, no, it's a wild time. It's funny because my first part of my career was a bariatric dietitian. I think we talked about that. So I've been using semaglutides for our diabetic patients. So it's funny because it's not like it's new. It is something that's been around for a very long time. But what we saw is that the mechanism of GLP-1s, which it helps reduce, it slows down the gastric emptying, right? So you feel fuller faster. But the most important reason why we used it for diabetics was to control their blood sugar. So we saw that people were losing weight. And that's when Wegovy, Ozempic, and now we have also the tirzepatide, and we have Jaro and Zepbound, and it's just like boom. So I'm sitting here kind of chuckling, being like, oh, like I've been using this for a very long time with my clients and my patients. And now because it's just been repackaged for weight loss, and I feel like I'm kind of like feeling left out. Like so many people it's like the cool thing to do now, like everyone's on it. So I feel personally, as someone that helps women lose weight, it is such a powerful tool, but it's so important to use it, like we talked about, in conjunction with lifestyle changes, strength training, eating balanced meals, making sure if you're struggling with mindless and emotional eating that you're practicing mindful eating. So I am so for it when it's used in the correct way, not when it's used as a quick fix. So hopefully many physicians who are prescribing it are making sure that their patients are actually getting the extended care of the lifestyle changes. That's unfortunately not always the case, but I feel like people are starting to learn about side effects, losing muscle mass if they're not strength training, eating protein. So there's a lot of pros and cons. I'm in the camp, I want people to use it. I have clients using it, but they're still working with me, working through all the deep-rooted issues. So as long as you use it in the most effective way, and it's something that hopefully you can maintain your weight, which is a whole nother conversation, I'm all for it.
Well, because are you seeing patients where they're trying to lose 10 pounds or trying to lose 20 pounds? So they go on Ozempic, but they haven't made any lifestyle changes. So once they stop taking it, the weight's going to come back.
100%.
Correct?
So my best example of that is I had a client who lost 20 pounds working with me, and it took her about 4 months. So that's about 5 pounds a month. That's about 1 pound a week. Healthy weight loss is anywhere between 0.5 pound to 2 pounds a week. So she did the hard work, she made the changes, and it's something that she's going to be able to maintain for the rest of her life. She told me that her coworker lost 15 pounds in 1 month. So that was quick and rapid. So that's amazing. But when that coworker came off of the GLP-1s, and studies have shown that people usually go off of it within 2 years, this person went off of it pretty quickly, was like, oh, I lost my 15 pounds, I'm done. The weight came back within 3 to 4 months plus more.
Right.
So for me, you're wasting time, you're wasting money because it's expensive, and also you're just starting back from square one in a worse situation.
So do you see patients who are losing that kind of rapid weight also are losing muscle mass, and they're losing their skin starting to sag? I mean, there's so many other factors besides, losing the weight.
So when people started, when it was ramping up, let's say like end of, 2023, early 2024, we were starting to see DEXA scans, which is the gold standard of measuring body fat percent, muscle mass, all of that. And so that is something where we started to look at their bone density and also their muscle mass. So the easiest way that I can explain it to you is when you think of 1 pound, 3/4 of the weight was lost from muscle, where 1/4 of the weight was lost from fat. We want that to be the opposite, right? We want to lose 3/4 from our fat and 1/4 from muscle, because it's inevitable. If you're going to lose 10, 15, 20 plus pounds, you will lose muscle, because remember, weight is your fluid, your hydration, your bones, your muscle, everything is included in weight. But that's why when I track with my clients, I care more about their body fat percent. I want that to go down and their muscle to go up. So they might not lose 20 pounds, but they're losing fat, which is the most important thing. So we'll also hear like Ozempic face. And people look very gaunt. And again, think about it. It's like, think about someone who's like withering away in the hospital. They may be losing weight, but they're literally losing muscle because they're not doing anything.
We've seen so many people with Ozempic face and Ozempic butt.
But so my question
you'll lose your butt, you'll lose your shape. So that's where it's just important. And, it's tough because the people who are on these drugs are not hungry. Remember, the whole point of this is like, it's teaching your body how to stop after eating, kind of like bariatric surgery. You eat a couple of bites and then you're full. So you're not getting enough calories. You're not able to eat enough protein to literally go to the gym and create, again, like the ability to build hypertrophy, muscle to grow. So it's like, it's hard because you're supposed to eat in a calorie deficit to lose weight, but then you're supposed to strength train and eat enough to build muscle. So that's why it's a really tough balance for people who are on these weight loss meds, because you'll see people who maybe had more of like a pear shape where all of a sudden they're like strict,
it changes their body shape, their body structure.
But here's the thing, like if you need to lose 10 pounds, like why do you need to take the shot? I get it for 30, 40 pounds, but like, come on, like, do you really need to take a shot to lose 10 pounds? Just watch what you're eating and go to the gym. Like, do you really need to inject yourself? And correct me if I'm wrong, I feel like if you actually do it the right way, not that Ozempic's the wrong way, but for 10 pounds, I personally think it is, you don't lose the same amount of muscle because you're not starving yourself. You're basically like putting yourself in anorexia in a way.
I think it depends on how you do it. So I'm guilty. This past spring, I went to Europe and gained 20 pounds, and I don't know what happened. I just started eating pasta. I came back, this Italian restaurant was open like next to my apartment, and I just thought it was like the greatest thing ever. So all of a sudden now I'm eating pasta at like nighttime and whatever, I gained the weight. So I freaked out, called my holistic doctor, Nadia, and I was like, I need help. So included with my peptides, she did baby doses of trizepatide.
But you did it properly.
I did it properly. I was still working
went
out.
To the gym.
Yeah,
you still ate.
Was eating the protein.
You weren't like copping out.
But I am guilty of the.
I'm talking about these. No, but yours was fine, and it was for like what, 6 weeks. I'm talking about these people that like literally are walking around all of the sudden like so skinny, and it's like, go to the effing gym. Like, I'm sorry, like don't just sit there all day.
She's very upset about seeing these women at the pool.
I'm so annoyed by it because it's like, get it together. Like, just go to the gym and be healthy. Like, you're not healthy. Like, that's what I want to tell them. Like, you might be skinny all of the sudden, and you might finally fit in a size 2, But at the end of the day, you have no muscle, like you're not doing yourself a service. And what are you going to do when you get off of it? Of course, there are times like you need to lose 60 pounds or whatever. You had a quick fix, like you gained weight, but you weren't normally that weight.
No.
Like you went up and you needed to go back down. I'm talking about these people that like say were normally like not obese. They were like 150 pounds and all of a sudden are like 130 pounds, right? They could have done that by not being an asshole.
I agree. They absolutely
like,
could have done that.
And then they like drink and they still eat. They do all their things. They're not healthy. They're just like smug and skinny and not healthy. It's so annoying.
She's very upset about these women at the pool.
Not just the pool, everywhere. Like not just the pool. Like
the carpool?
A carpool, the pool, like dinner, everywhere, across the board. No one specific, just the whole culture of it. I see them on TV and it makes me so angry. Like, just go to the gym. Stop being lazy.
Does it make you angry, Jacqueline?
It's when they don't go to the gym that it annoys me. Like, do the right things. It's so lazy.
It doesn't make me as angry as she is.
So
What'd she say?
I'm very
it
angry
doesn't make me as angry as you are right now.
Yeah.
But I understand
she's so
your
angry.
frustration.
I'm so bitter about it.
But the thing that I was joking about is being facetious in the beginning. It was like, I feel like left out. Like, I feel like it's like the cool thing to do now.
Right.
Like everyone is just like, but so what I want to say and tack on to what you were talking about is that health is the most important thing. So when you're talking about these people that have 60 plus pounds to lose and they have sleep apnea, they're literally like not able to breathe in the middle of the night, right? Diabetes, like chronic diseases, like metabolic syndrome, like yes, to use this as a tool instead of going to an extreme measure where I used to work in bariatric surgery, like that is that is cutting your stomach or taking 75% out. It's an extreme. So I have been on the extreme where I helped people who were in the 300s.
Yeah, that's different.
I am so not angry about.
Yeah.
I'm talking about housewife Ozempic.
She's talking about the carpool moms that have 10 or 20 pounds to lose.
And all of the sudden, they've changed nothing. And they're just walking around so smug. It's like, come on. Do the work, people.
Honestly, though, the hard thing about that is that, you know what, like the minute that they do come off it or there are shortages that they're not able to, or again, it sounds like these people have the funds, well, they'll pay the 500, the 1,000, whatever it is, whatever. And again, to each your own. If you want to spend your money that way, you spend your money that way. But again, we also are not really sure how this is going to impact people. We're seeing a lot of studies show that it could have an increased risk of, it's a correlation, so no, it's not a causation, but of macular degeneration or affecting their eyesight.
Oh, right. I've heard the eyesight.
Like, it's scary. So if people are getting, these compounded versions, make sure you're getting compounded versions from legit places. Yes. Because you have no idea where this lab and what's going on. So I just have to say to those people who are doing what you're explaining, well, you know what? Like, let's see where you are in 2 years. Are you the type of person that you're going to maintain, you're going to eat healthy, you're going to move your body, you're going to eat mindfully? Then great. I'm glad that you use something to help you. But if you're going to use it as a quick fix because you want to look good for your 40th birthday party or a trip to Ibiza, and then you just go back to what you were doing, then you're just going to be on this it's the same thing as Weight Watchers, keto, intermittent fasting. If you still use these quick fixes, it doesn't fix the actual problem. The minute that you go back to your old habits, the weight will come back.
And since when is it, like, you don't want to look like a bag of bones? So that's like the other thing with it.
Well, you did in the early 2000s.
I did. I totally
did in the early 2000s.
I totally did. And I was like, and I look back at those photos and that's what was trendy, right?
It was.
I completely looked like that and I wasn't healthy. I mean, I'd have like a Diet Coke. I wouldn't even touch a Diet Coke today. But like back then, I'd literally have 3 Diet Cokes and, take a couple bites of something for dinner and call it a day to be a size 24 jean. And I think that these people are really perpetuating that again. Like, is that a culture that we really want? I mean, I think that there's 2 sides to it. Of course, you want fit people, right? Like, I'm not saying don't be fit and the other end of that, but somewhere in the middle, what happened to, like, when did a size 4 become big? Right?
Yeah.
I mean, because these designers, they're promoting like 00. So if when you're looking at somebody in a 00, size 4 is big compared to, a 00.
It's like in no planet would so I can say this, like if I stand next to somebody on Ozempic, right? And I'm going to be completely honest, I'm 5'4", and I weigh between 125 and 130 pounds, depending on the day, right? There is no planet I should look fat next to somebody, right? And I do next to the people on Ozempic. Like, how is that healthy?
But again, it's what you were talking about. I think that at least the positive thing from our society where we are today is strong, not skinny. I do believe that that's where we're going towards, is more about nourishing your body and being healthy and being strong, not skinny. Because, you know, there is a term, I'm not sure if you're aware of, if we talked about this last time, but skinny fat. Like,
totally a thing.
What you're talking about is like, you know, I can picture just people who maybe weigh 105 pounds compared to you, but they're pure fat.
They're
they have
skinny fat.
muscle,
right? And their BMI is way higher than yours.
Yeah. So maybe it's not the people I'm mad at. Maybe it's the culture I'm mad at.
I think you're mad at somebody.
I'm very mad at. I think it's the culture.
She's mad at somebody.
Yeah.
But also, my injector told me recently that a lot of these girls are coming in for Sculpture to try to fix their face while they're on Ozempic. And she said that for some reason, when they're injecting the Ozempic and they're taking the Sculpture isn't working. So do you know that as well? Like, it doesn't work if you're on Ozempic.
Well, and again, it's like, think about it. So all of this is happening internally. And that's where, again, it's like all of the fat, because you're barely eating. Think about, you're in like a hypocaloric diet, like you are literally, so when you think of like, let's call like HCG or like some of the very low calorie, between 5 and 800 calories, like it is wild. Like your brain and heart and kidneys and liver use more than 500 calories combined to just function. So like it is starving your organs. So of course nothing is gonna work, because your body is like, what the hell is going on? Like,
so the Sculpture is promoting your own collagen, so that your body can't even produce the collagen because you're depriving it with the lack of calories.
Yeah. So again, like I see, it's so interesting because I'm very curious where we're going to be in terms of, I saw a crazy stat. It was something like 8 to 12% of Americans are on a GLP-1, which is a ton
8 to 12%.
See, now you're angry.
No, I'm angry.
Yeah,
8 to 12%.
Yes,
it is a high number.
Yeah.
But I want you to think again. We can look at it both ways. Where, wow, that is helping. You know, the average, someone will lose 17% of their body fat. That could be preventing the cardiac disease, people, the medical bills it could prevent by making people healthier. But then we're also talking about this subset of people that, like, what did you call it? The carpool moms, or like the housewife. Like, they have what, 10 pounds combined to lose, like 5 and 5. Like, it's not really helping the health status of America, where people who are older, who are in wheelchairs and like who can literally not walk because they're in the little scooters, that's going to actually help America become healthier.
But isn't this a Band-Aid though? Like, and I think that's what we need to get to. Like, if 10 to 12% of people in the US are on Ozempic, maybe we should be asking, why are they on Ozempic? And maybe we should be, doling out better food, better ingredients, giving, having more gym memberships, encouraging exercise as opposed to encouraging these shots.
Is Ozempic covered by most insurance companies or GLP-1s?
So no, because like I can give you a clear example of someone who got rejected for high LDLs, which is huge in one of the most like common predictor of heart disease, your like unhealthy lipids, and then also sleep apnea, and got rejected from literally both semaglutides and tirzepatide. So, which is again Mounjaro. So it was actually created in like for people who have sleep apnea. Diabetes sleep apnea is one of the indications. So I find it hilarious that it's like, okay, obese in terms of BMI, which we clearly don't trust BMI before, but whatever. Let's just call it, you have one tick there. Okay, high obesity BMI, and then also sleep apnea. You would think that this person would get approved for having those two comorbidities. They got denied, so now they're paying cash pay $500 a month, which, think about it, if you're going to be paying that for the rest of your life. So obviously this person wants to do it for a couple of months, but no, it is not. And that's another big touchy subject. The people who need it are the ones who are not getting it. But the people who you are talking about, who can pay the $500 to $1,000, and again, Costco is now able, if you have a prescription, you can pay the cash pay $4.99 if you're a Costco member. Just rock up to Costco with your prescription and go get your Ozempic. Like, that's millions of people who are Costco members who are probably so stoked. You're not going to like go next to like the Kirkland, yogurt and like pick up your Ozempic next to it. That's not how it's going to work. But now you will be able to get it directly from Costco if you have a prescription. But again, that's where the doctor has to come in to say, okay, do you have 30, 40, 50 plus pounds, and are you at risk for health disease? Yes, I'm going to give you a prescription, versus the mom that's like, I'm going on vacation.
But they're getting these prescriptions from, I guess, telehealth doctors or whomever.
Weight Watchers does it now. Like good old-fashioned Weight Watchers.
So they're doing it as well.
They do it
Weight
in
Watchers
conjunction.
started and added it last year, and I know their stock and all the things have been crazy, so I don't know how effective it was, but there's lots of doctors who are branching out, who are doing this on the side.
Right.
And
it's like telehealth doctors. I mean, do you think there are doctors prescribing that haven't even seen the patient or seen their blood work?
Absolutely. You can go online and you can do a form and literally just get it. You don't even have to be seen.
So you can get Ozempic the same way you can get an emotional support animal certificate?
Yes.
You can literally order from any place. I actually had an adolescent patient who she continued working with me because she was 18. And she did extremely well on it. But the reason why I encouraged her mom to keep, of course, her mom was, paying for her to work with me, which I said, like, honestly, I don't trust if this, your daughter she would have a text message from the telehealth, and it would just be, what's your weight? And that's it.
Right.
She's 18 years old. She was nauseous. She had side effects. I wanted to protect her period. I wanted to protect her menstrual cycle. I wanted to protect.
This is crazy.
See? Can you imagine?
They had no communication. Weren't asking about food. Nothing like that. It was just, what's your weight? So their job, and again, I don't want to paint doctors and people prescribing it, but don't forget, there are like med spas that if you can prescribe something, they're going to prescribe it to people. So like, it helps their business.
Like, can you imagine being like, I will say this, like in my 20s, I would have completely gone and taken it, and I would have literally looked sickly. And that's what's so scary about it, is these young girls in their 20s can just go to one of these places and get it, and they don't have a pound to lose, but they see these pictures and these images of overtly skinny people, and it's an easy way out. Like, I would have done it in my 20s, no question.
Yeah, it's really scary. We are so happy that you came on again. We were so excited to talk about this topic, and this has just been great information. And basically for our viewers, like, you have to be really careful. And do you see also where they're like, it's almost like a Groupon where you can get it like so much cheaper, and that's what you're talking about, like you don't know where you're going to get that from and how dangerous that can be?
Oh yeah, if you type in, you were just talking about peptides, right? Yeah. Like you type in, there was someone sent me one because she asked me like, is this a legit place? And they were having a 72-hour sale on Trizepatide.
Right, it's like a Groupon.
And I was just like, oh my goodness, like I cannot keep up with
this is scary.
Compounding pharmacies, and they have sales, and it's so again, when you think of like the cash pay, lowest price you can get from the actual manufacturer, if you're going to get actual Zepbound or Mounjaro, is probably $500. That's the cheapest that you're going to get. But if you get the vials of just the powder, where it's again compounded, you have to put the water and mixture and the calculations, you can get those for like $50 to $100. But it's just like, it's like drugs again. You just, where is it coming from?
That's like black market almost.
It's
what could you tell the viewers, like, overall to look out for, and what person should qualify for this and what person shouldn't?
Yeah, so I would say if someone has anywhere between 20 plus pounds to lose, and they're struggling with emotional, mindless eating, they're struggling with making, healthier choices, you can use it as a tool in conjunction with getting support from a registered dietitian like myself, or working with a healthcare practitioner, where it's something like you said, like your holistic doctor, like someone who's going to manage your care, who's going to help you use the GLP-1s in conjunction with helping making those habit changes, those behavior changes. For someone who, let's say, has 50 plus pounds to lose and they're actually in pain and it's hard for them to go to the gym, this is something that will help accelerate because it will allow you to reduce the weight so you're not in pain. But that means you have to be able to go and do the things that you need to do to get your body strong, eating well, moving your body. So I say for those people, as long as you are working with someone who's helping with your nutrition and your movement, and most importantly, your mindset, because again, it's an identity change. You can be the identity of someone who is just going to take Ozempic for the rest of your life to keep 5 pounds off, or you can use Ozempic to help you change your identity to, I'm a marathon runner, I strength train, I do yoga, I eat whole foods, and changing that who you are so you're the healthiest version, so you can come off the meds and maintain it. Like you've maintained your weight. That's how you know it wasn't a quick fix. And when you said I'm guilty, I'm guilty.
But you're not guilty.
No.
Like there's people, I feel like there's people that have tried so hard to lose the weight, right? Like I'm not saying never go on it. Like if you have been trying and you just cannot lose, 10 pounds you need to lose, go on it, but try other things first if it's a vanity
and
thing.
not take the easy way
and not
out.
take the easy way out, right? Like I completely understand. Like there's hormonal issues. Like everybody can't just like wake up in the morning and lose 10 pounds, right? I get that. But I do think that you should stop and think before you go on it and not just use it automatically.
No, you're right. Thank you so much again. We love having you on this show. This has been great. Such great information for our viewers. Thank you.
Thank you.
If you like what you're hearing on Party's Over, subscribe and share this episode with a friend. They'll thank you. Moving on, we're talking about financial toxicity, when love gets expensive and money turns into a form of control. Vita, have you ever been in a financially toxic relationship?
I haven't, just because before my husband, I dated losers. So I don't know how they could have controlled me with their money, because they didn't have any. Not that you're a loser if you don't have money.
Vita didn't date anybody that had money, and I also haven't been in a financially toxic relationship, but I know plenty of women who have, and they get themselves in these relationships where they stop working, they get married, they stop working, and now they're completely financially dependent on their husband, and he starts controlling. He's a narcissist. He starts controlling them with the money, and they don't really know what to do, because a lot of these women have signed prenups, and prenups are not in their favor, and they're afraid to leave. They're afraid to what the other side looks like. They're afraid that they haven't worked in 10 or 15 or 20 years.
I think that this happens a lot, and I think another form of a toxic financial relationship is that I see a lot is a parent-child relationship, where I think that there's a lot of parents that are controlling their adult children with purse strings. And I think that's toxic too.
So it's like wearing golden handcuffs, basically.
Yes, so whether you're in a marriage where you're wearing those golden handcuffs, or you're in a relationship with a family member, whether it's a rich aunt or uncle or a grandparent or a parent that's basically controlling you with their money. And like, what do you do, right? I mean, I feel like you're kind of stuck.
Yes and no, because I feel like a lot of people, and I know people that have been in these situations where they have massive trust funds, and some of them made their own money over time, and
where there's
some of them
stipulations is what I'm getting at. So I think that there's definitely people where the parent will not like a spouse, right? Or somebody they're dating, and they'll be like, you're cut off if you keep dating them. I mean, I'm gonna admit something. My husband and I didn't like somebody one of the kids was dating, and we were like, should we cut him off? Because I mean, you're just so desperate, right? And so it's easy get in those situations, right? Like, are we going to pay for them to like do something that we don't agree with?
That's a little different,
it's a tough
but
call.
that's also different because when you're supporting your son and they're dating somebody that you don't like, ultimately you're paying for them as well because he's paying
for the person.
He's paying for her flights, he's paying for her trips, he's paying for their dates.
Dinners, like all the things.
So I feel like that's like a little different
because
cutting off, you would just be like, look, I'll pay for you, but I'm not paying for them. So I don't know if that's really
so we weren't
the same.
toxic.
It could be more like, oh, if you marry this person and you have a trust fund, you are going to get
and that
caught.
happens all the time.
All the time.
I mean, I feel like that's a very, very common thing. Like if you marry this person, you were done with this family, financially and otherwise.
So I think the moral to the story is to never be financially dependent on anyone, whether it's your family, whether it's a spouse, anybody. Just try to figure out a way in this world to make it on your own, because whenever you become financially dependent on somebody else, you lose complete control of your life.
I agree with that. And I think it's really hard sometimes to maintain your financial independence as a woman because you're being drawn in so many different directions, and it's really easy to not want to deal with the money stuff. I mean, I'm guilty of it. You know, sometimes you're just like, I don't have the energy to go out and do this when somebody's willing to hand it to me. But I do think that it's okay to be financially dependent on your spouse if you have an agreement and you're not in a toxic relationship. Like, you can be financially dependent on somebody and not be in a toxic financial relationship, because all women or men that are dependent on their spouse financially aren't being controlled. Like, you can need the money your spouse earns without them having you in these golden handcuffs. You know, you can still have that sort of agreement within your family. So I think it's almost more not worrying about being financially dependent on somebody for your everyday existence, but having that agreement that they can't control you with their money.
But so many people are in these relationships where it is toxic and the husband's telling them, oh, well, you can't have money to do this, you can't have money to do that, but if you're good and you do this for me, then I'll reward you.
And that's not okay. I mean,
well, I know people in those situations where I will reward you. Okay, I'll buy you this bracelet. I'll buy you a car if you do this. I know somebody right now who's trying to get divorced, and she's broke, and she signed a prenup. The prenup is horrendous. She had a bad attorney, so now she has to get a new attorney. And he's hiding his money. So now she hired an attorney without a forensic accountant. He's hiding money. She's stuck. Yeah. I mean, that's a toxic financial relationship.
And this goes back to, for those of you out there who haven't been married yet, you know, pick your spouse wisely. It's okay.
If you can.
But I mean,
if they don't see the red flags right away.
You might not see you're blinded
that's
by
the
love.
problem. Because sometimes they don't show their true colors until after you're married. And a lot of women look at the situation like, oh, but I'll sign the prenup because I love him, and I'm not in this because for financial gain. I just love him and I want to marry him, which is really a bad idea.
Yeah, and I think this goes beyond finances almost. Like any sort of relationship where your spouse is controlling you. I mean, that's not okay. You're a grown adult. You should be controlling your own actions. Like, you shouldn't be asking your spouse permission to do things. I mean, obviously you want to consult your spouse because you're in a relationship and not do things that upset them, you know, if you can. But your husband shouldn't be calling the shots in your everyday life.
Or controlling your basic needs.
No, not at all.
I feel like there are a lot of different scenarios that we could talk about. Maybe it starts off where the wife gets annoyed because the husband's paying for the neighbors and buying dinner for all of his friends, or paying for trips or tables at a club or whatever it is. And that maybe in the future could escalate into something, you know, possibly more serious.
I agree. I think that a lot of micro financial decisions can then be where independently they're not that big of a deal, but they can turn into this macro issue in a marriage where it becomes an issue of, are we aligned financially?
Yes.
And I think that finances can take a relationship that otherwise wouldn't have any toxicity and make it toxic.
And also, we can talk about like the love bombing aspect of this, where somebody's holding the money, they're dangling the carrot,
which
basically,
is so
which
bad.
happens all the time with controlling somebody through money.
Yeah, and I think, you know, when I think it really happens a lot is in these instances with like the young girls and the old men.
Yes.
You know, because like these
Because
girls,
they're controlling the narrative.
They're literally controlling all of it. And I think the young girls are coming in and they're desperate for like a Chanel bag or a Birkin or something, right? And they get themselves into this situation, and fast forward 10 years and their entire existence is being controlled by this old man's money, which is really sad.
Well, it happens a lot in where they're not even married. Like the older person is controlling the younger person. Oh, I'll pay for your apartment and I'll pay for your shopping. But eventually you're going to age and you're going to get older, and then they're going to replace you for somebody younger.
Or they're stuck because they can't afford to do anything.
And if they haven't saved their money, or if
Which
they
they
haven't
likely
invested,
haven't.
then what happens?
They
age out, and then
there's a new set of girls that are getting
girls.
trapped in the same financial mess
So
as the
that's
old set.
financial toxic abuse as well.
I completely agree. I mean, it's a serious issue, and I think that, like you said, it's important to be independent. You know, I personally think it's okay not to work and not to be earning your own money. I really do feel strongly about that. I think it is okay to just want to stay home with your kids. That being said, you need to make sure you're doing that with someone that's not controlling you. And think really long and hard before you give up your career.
Yes.
So that's the thing. Like, I think it's very much okay to give up your career, and I would never judge anybody for doing that, but think before you do it.
As long as you're in a good financial spot with your significant other, where you haven't signed this crazy prenup, which a lot of women do, you've given up your career, but everything is split down the middle. So whatever you come into the marriage with should be yours, whatever he has should be his, and whatever you accumulate together as a married couple, I feel like should be split down the middle, and that's not always the case.
No, it's not always the case, and it's not fair. And that's why you have to think about it before you stop working. Like, say you're married and you're done working. You just don't want to work anymore, right? Go back and think, did I sign a prenup? And you know what? If you signed that ironclad prenup, then you know what? You might have to keep working. You might. And that's the reality. And that's, you know, the result of a choice you made early on. And it's not fair, but you're going to be better off if you keep working.
I honestly don't know one married woman who has signed a prenup who has gotten divorced and they weren't completely screwed over. I don't know one. I don't know one that has signed a good prenup. So that's a whole other show, but I feel like there's so many red flags though in the beginning that most of the time you'll see.
So think long and hard before you give up your financial independence, because you don't want to end up in one of these situations.
I couldn't agree more. Vita, guess what time it is?
Spill it!
This is Spill It, where we answer your questions and nothing's off limits. Here's the latest. Dear Sandra, I'm so embarrassed to write this, but my boyfriend gave me an STD. He says it was from his ex-girlfriend before we got together, and I believe him. But my friends think I'm crazy and that STDs are a deal breaker. What do you think?
Dirty
100%
dog.
deal breaker.
Ew.
That's so gross.
Over, snip,
Yeah,
cut off.
him right away.
No question.
If he gave you an STD, that is so...
He's an asshole.
It's so
Am I allowed
rude.
to say that?
Yes, you're allowed to say it. It's so disrespectful. It's so rude.
Unacceptable behavior.
It shows that he can't even be a responsible human being to have safe sex with somebody.
It's bad enough he's running around and he can't even, take care of that. And then to act like it's not a big deal.
And don't believe him.
That's a huge deal.
Yeah, but don't believe him.
No,
'Cause he's
liar,
probably cheating
pants on fire,
out
cut
with
off,
random people.
over and done with.
No. he's done.
Deal breaker. Your friends are right. Don't even question it.
100% right. You need to end it.
Yeah, done.
Thanks for spilling it with us. That's a wrap on This Party's Over. I love sharing it with you, and I'd love you to subscribe and share it with friends. For more behind the scenes, real talk, and beauty tips that actually work, follow me on Instagram at Sandra Silverman. Until next time, stay radiant, stay ruthless, and remember, aging is optional
And bullshit is not.